Hey friends, Sean from Draft Therapy here, and on today's review for you, let's go gluten-free. Double IPA is a 7.2%, you guessed it, Double IPA from Brewery Nyx in Grand Rapids, Michigan. No fancy beer names this time around, and you may not have heard of Brewery Nyx yet, but they're a 100% gluten-free brewery new to Grand Rapids. This beer is so new. How new is it? It's so new that the tasting room isn't even open yet, but they do have a couple of their beers hitting limited distribution, so if you're sensitive to gluten, you may just want to check out their stout, or they also have a lager option in addition to this double IPA. So let's get a look at the label and we'll get it into a glass, but first I'd like to thank my executive producers, Brian Kramer, David Jeffries, and Cam Freeman for helping to bring this review to you today. If you'd like to become a producer, help out the channel, or again, just throw me a couple bucks to buy me a beer, take a look at my Patreon at patreon.drafttherapy.com, where you can get early access to these videos and a few other special perks that are available only to patrons. If the monetary thing isn't your thing, just share this video. Let's spread the word about craft beer. Let's get more people into craft beer from all different walks of life. So let's take a look at the label here. If we look at the front, it's pretty colorful design here. It's got this really nice dark blue and green for this specific double IPA. Across the top, it says Brewery Nyx. It has Nyx, who is the goddess of darkness. Underneath that, it says gluten-free double IPA. Lets you know the 7.2% alcohol by volume. This is 16 fluid ounces. If we turn it to the back here, it says profile, hoppy and tropical balanced. Crafted and canned by Brewery Nyx in Grand Rapids, Michigan, a dedicated gluten-free brewery. Made with water, millet, rice, hops, sunflower seeds, yeast. Underneath that, you can find out more about them at brewerynyx.com and their Facebook and Instagram pages at Brewery Nyx. They're at 506 Oakland Avenue, Southwest Grand Rapids, Michigan, 49503. On the other side is the government warning. Of course, it tells you to keep beer cold, drink fresh, and drink responsibly with the deposit information. There's no canned on date information that I can see on this can, but this just hit shelves. Today is, that I'm recording this, is June 5th. This literally just hit shelves, I think, last Thursday when I went and picked this up. So we're going to go ahead and do what we do. We crack this, put a nose on the can, and we'll put it in the glass and see where it takes us. So let's put a nose on it here. I'm definitely getting those IPA vibes. I'm getting a nice kind of citrusy, malty, and maybe a little bit of a dankness in there. There's not a whole lot of aroma, but I can tell that there are, IPA vibes. Again, that citrus, that malty, get a little bit of that dank. Let's go ahead and pour it. And it's coming out dark like you would expect from a double IPA. It comes out almost like a two-hearted look to it, like a dark copper or a bit of an amber color. Just gonna kind of slow up on this pour so we don't over pour it, but we let enough of that head come out to breathe. And looking at it, we're getting about two and a half fingers, probably pretty generous. It's got that off-white shading towards a little bit of an amber or a caramel colored head. Off-white, it's not super bright, not super brilliant. The cross-section, as you can see from the top, it looks like these bubbles are really kind of foamy, and they are like really huge on the side. And as you can see, they're already starting to dissipate. We got about, now it's about down to 2 fingers. If we hold it up to the light here, it's not especially clear. It does have a bit of a haziness to it. You can see sediment kind of dropping from the top to the bottom, and I can just see my shadow of my fingers through the glass there, so it's not even, super clear, super filtered. Let's put a nose on it here out of the glass. Again, getting that kind of malty, getting that sweet malty characteristic, getting a bit of a citrus, not so much of the dank more, but now it's really citrus, really malty kind of forward. So let's go ahead and give it a shot. Cheers. So again, we always talk about the mouthfeel first. That's a mouthful for me to say. We always talk about the mouthfeel first. It does have a little bit of a, it's definitely in the medium category. It is shading a little bit towards that lighter side, but the beer itself really coats your tongue, really covers everything, really kind of gives your mouth a nice coating of that beer. Let's talk about the flavor. There's a lot of flavor in here. And initially, the first kind of swig that I took, I was thinking like, wow, this is really sweet. But now that it's kind of gotten a chance to settle, I'll take another drink. We'll talk about it, talk it through here. So you do get a big punch of malty sweetness that comes up right up on the upfront. Very malty, very that sweet malt flavor. And then that does kind of transform a little bit to this citrus tropical kind of vibe. That the sweetness turns from, again, from that really kind of sweet malty flavor to a little bit of a tropical note on it and a little bit of that citrus. It then kind of, as you swallow, that bitterness turns a little bit more towards that, definitely has that double IPA feel or that double IPA taste. And it does come down to that tropical and citrus sweetness and that little bit of like citrus bitterness in there as well. I will be perfectly honest. When I read that this was gluten-free, that this brewery was gluten-free, I kind of thought like, I don't know how many gluten-free beers that I've had, but is this gimmicky? Is this a beer that I'm going to actually enjoy? And I have to say, it is a really satisfying double IPA. I don't really notice anything different. They're not really that different, right? But they are different. So there's not that really that big of a difference between this and any other kind of double IPA, just in the IPA kind of mouthfeel flavor category. But this has these really nice, sweeter tropical notes. It is a little bit sweeter than I think I generally like IPAs to be. I like them to be a little bit more, I do like them to be malty. I like malty IPAs, especially malty IPAs. But this is really kind of kicking that sweetness up to just a little bit higher than what I personally prefer. But it is a solid double IPA through and through. And I think that it's really awesome to see that there are different versions of beer or different, ways that beers can be made to accommodate everybody. I don't think that you could sit down and, if you're thinking like I was kind of thinking that gluten-free beer generally means to be boring or uninteresting, I think you could buy one of these not knowing anything about it, or giving it to someone that was, gluten intolerant or needed to have a diet, that consists of non-gluten material. But I think you could sit this in front of anybody and they would drink it and not be able to tell, number one, that there's anything different about it, but number two, that this is a solid double IPA. The only knock that I have, again, that I kind of mentioned already, and I'm going to take another taste and I'll tell you exactly what that is. It's just a tad sweeter than how I would like. I would like the bitterness to come in a little bit quicker than what it comes in on this. It definitely sits on the aftertaste. It definitely has that double IPA aftertaste, but I think I would like to see it be a little bit less sweet and a little bit more bitter, from front to back. But this is a solid double IPA. It definitely has those double IPA or IPA aftertaste, after notes of flavor. Again, I think you could sit this in front of anybody that's an IPA drinker, and they may, some people, especially now that New England's are kind of like the thing and more people are like off the West Coast bandwagon. Of course, there are always fans of the West Coast that are still out there, and Midwest IPAs are kind of maybe making a little bit of a comeback. This is definitely in that Midwest kind of IPA vibe. It has that malty character, but I just think that sweetness that it has adds just a little bit too much, especially for my taste. I'd like to see it a little bit more bitter. But I would definitely not turn this away if anybody, were to offer this to me not knowing anything about it, or even if I knew anything about it, I'd be totally down to try it. And now I do have the stout, so I'm really looking forward to seeing the stout from Brewery Nyx to see how that one, if at all, is changes my expectation on the beer style, on gluten-free beer, and I actually think it will, just based on how this one tastes so far. All right, friends, that's been the double IPA from Brewery Nyx, named for the goddess of the night. Have you had this beer before, or are you looking for more gluten-free beer options? Let us know in the comments down below while you're down there. If you like beer, you want to subscribe and click that bell, because I'm here talking about beer twice a week. Tuesdays and Thursdays is all for free for viewers just like you. I'm talking about the newest breweries. I'm talking about the old ones. I'm talking about every different brewery, and it's all for free for viewers just like you. You might miss your newest favorite if you're not subscribed and getting those notifications. If you are subscribed and getting those notifications, share this video with your friends. Again, let's get more people into craft beer. Let's make it a little bit more inclusive, and let's make it even for people that might not have drank beer before because of ingredients in the beer. So until next time, I'm Sean from Draft Therapy. Thanks for stopping by. Remember, drink craft beer, support your local breweries wherever they are, and most importantly, don't forget to treat yourself to a little draft therapy. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time. Cheers.